let me ask you about something that you said at the debate last week. You used the phrase inside job to describe what happened on January 6th. The next day, Capitol rioter Alan Hostetter highlighted your comments at his sentencing. He is going to prison for 11 years. Hostetter threatened members of Congress. He brought a hatchet, knives, pepper spray, stun batons, tactical gear to the U.S. Capitol. Are you concerned that a convicted felon like that is now promoting your comments in court?
So here's my concern, Abby. And I want to tell you guys where I'm at. If you had told me, it's close to 3 years ago that January 6, 2021 happened. If you had told me 3 years ago, back when I was a biotech CEO, not steeped in this world, I was just consuming passive media, but was focused on my world of developing medicines. If you had told me that January 6 was in any way an inside job, the subject of government entrapment, I would have told you that was crazy talk. Fringe conspiracy theory nonsense. I can tell you now, having gone somewhat deep in this, it's not. I mean, the reality is this. We do have a government, first of all, we have to acknowledge, that has lied to us systematically over the last several years about the origin of COVID-19, about the Hunter Biden laptop that we were told was false by 51 CIA experts and otherwise before we now know that it was true. You can go straight down the list, the Trump-Russia disinformation collusion hoax, all of it. Now we come to January 6th. The reality is we know that there were federal law enforcement agents in that field. We don't know how many. I think it's shameful. If I may finish just answering.
Well, let me just. I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you here because you're
I know
saying that there were federal agents.
We should be able to talk about this.
You're saying that there were federal agents.
This is important to talk about.
Let the man speak.
There were federal agents in the crowd on January 6th.
Yep.
There is no evidence that there were federal agents in the crowd on January 6th.
So why, before Congress, when pressed on what the number was, they didn't say there were none? They just couldn't say how many there were.
So you're saying that that you have not seen any evidence that there were.
We've seen multiple informants suggesting that there were. We know people were FBI informants who were asked to
Is there any evidence?
May I just finish this and you can come back and question me?
Well, let me clarify.
I know it's very uncomfortable for you.
I'm going to clarify my question.
I know this is an uncomfortable issue for many people, but we have to do the truth here.
I'm going to clarify my question because I want to make sure that you understand what I'm asking.
I understand this deeply.
He understands. Shut your ass up.
Where is the evidence?
Yes.
Where is the evidence that the government had a plot?
So let's do this.
An inside job.
But no, I'm going to tell you what an inside job is because I'm not
violence on January 6th.
I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth. I'm going to put my words in my mouth. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that.
Where is the evidence that the government was involved in planning or executing January 6th?
So I'm going to give you hard facts. And if I may, Abby, I know this is going to be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to go through this, and you can push back on it after that. And you can push back on that. And let's do this fairly. Why did they suppress footage of now what's been released, 200 hours of footage of shooting rubber bullets into that crowd, shooting tear gas into that crowd? You didn't see that before. You saw what the response was to that. Now you see footage coming out of actually rolling out the red carpet for Capitol Police allowing
Ramaswamy,
people in.
Again,
right through the front door.
Vast majority of that
video evidence should have been released before, Abby.
Mr. Ramaswamy, the vast majority of the footage shows police officers being overrun
and I want to talk about one more
by
case.
violent
this is really important.
rioters. That's
I'm going to give you hard facts. So here's what entrapment is. I'm not cherry picking. If I may finish, Abby. If I may finish, Abby. I'm not cherry picking examples.
Why should you keep interrupting? It's kind of annoying.
Not cherry pick examples.
You know cherry pick
the government. That is what happened.
The government cherry picked 12 hours of footage. When there was 200 hours of footage. So cherry picking was the government, not me. Release the whole thing. And let me just finish one thing, too, because this is super important as a topic.
So
I think this is a civil libertarian issue of our time.
When
Gretchen Whitmer's kidnapping. I want to be really clear on this, because it's the same issue in the same FBI, same even part of the FBI. 3 people who were in an alleged plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer were acquitted at the end of trial because it was entrapment. That is, government agents put them up to do something they otherwise wouldn't have done. They gave them credit cards with spending limits of up to $5,000, encouraged them to buy munitions.
Not this.
Plan something they weren't otherwise willing to plan. So much so, and I want people at home to know this, especially CNN.
Y'all heard this? That he got a credit card to buy ammunition? He said this
Not
already?
that specific, but he said what he just said before that. He said that before about.
Oh, yeah. But giving them a card to buy ammunition.
He getting his story about the
that far in detail.
Yeah, he just getting the story.
That's what I mean.
But he said the story before.
You thought that was talking about what that happened at January 6th, huh? You thought the bullets and stuff was bought for January 6th.
That's what he's saying.
No, that's not what he's saying.
He's just giving an example. Yeah, he's getting an example.
He's giving you an example of what is entrapment.
Yeah.
I'm not cherry picking. If I may finish, Abby.
I'm not cherry picking
I'm not cherry picking.
Examples.
To the contrary. To the contrary,
cannot
you know who
cherry-pick
cherry-picked?
examples
You know who cherry-picked?
and
The
say that
government
that
did.
is what happened
The
on
government
January
cherry-picked
6th.
12 hours of footage when there was 200 hours of footage. So cherry-picking was the government, not me. Release the whole thing. And let me just finish one thing, too, because this is super important as a topic.
So
I think this is a civil libertarian issue of our time.
When we were
Gretchen
talking-
Whitmer's kidnapping. I want to be really clear on this, because it's the same issue in the same FBI, same even part of the FBI. 3 people who were in an alleged plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer were acquitted at the end of trial because it was entrapment. That is, government agents put them up to do something they otherwise wouldn't have done. They gave them credit cards with spending limits of up to $5,000, encouraged them to buy munitions, plan something they weren't otherwise willing to plan. So much so, and I want people at home to know this, especially CNN viewers to know
That's what
this,
they did on January
is that
6th.
one of the jurors went to those defendants and apologized afterwards, gave him a hug, apologized, seeing what the government had put a poor guy up to who had to go to some Mexican restaurant across the street to get hot water. These people were exploited with credit cards up to $5,000, FBI agents, putting them up to a kidnapping plot that we were told was true but was entrapment. Same thing with the Capitol Police, people letting them in freely. Many of those people then being charged.
Ramaswamy, look,
the government cannot put you up to do something and then charge you for it. That's wrong.
I see why they try to hit him with that file.
To the left, or the right,
I don't want to
care.
have
It's
to.
wrong.
I don't want to have to interrupt you. I really don't.
You're exposing too much.
But
Yes,
I
you
don't
do.
want you to mislead the audience here or
I'm
at
not.
home.
Abby, I think they've been misled by the mainstream media.
14
I think he was cooking
I ain't
because
gonna
they
lie,
was
he was
clapping for
cooking.
him on CNN. He's a Republican.
Yeah.
Oh, at
See,
first I thought they was clapping for her ass.
They kept.
Let's clap for him.
Well, I mean, they're at the Republican presidential town hall, so
Oh.
of course they're gonna be Republican.
Well, I was thinking because it was CNN. You know, I just think CNN. You know,
I don't like the way she kept
Yeah, I was-
interrupting him.
That's so annoying.
Like, lady, if you're gonna ask a question, at least let him finish his answer.
Facts.
Look, well, Mr. Ramaswamy,
And
Mr.
respond
Ramaswamy,
after. He
Mr.
said
Ramaswamy,
respond
like,
after.
Like, lady, shut up. Like, you're so unprofessional. Please, just
She
let
looks
the man
good
talk.
too, man.
I
She looks
wonder.
good.
I wonder
does
why
look
why they're like holding on evidence and not letting the American people see any type of evidence of everything.
Well,
Brother,
that's how
they're
they
doing
can,
that with
that's how
COVID.
they,
He
that's how
just
they
said that.
control the narrative.
Bro,
That's
why
I was loud and wrong on this one.
What did he
but-
say? I can damn near quote Vivek right
Jeff
now.
Epstein.
We got to defund the FBI. That's what he said.
So you think the FBI is the reason why we ain't seen the Jeff Epstein list?
Could be. We don't know shit.
I don't know who's holding
I
it.
know
there's
that
no
they
way
are
to know.
corrupt though.
But
I want to see
they have
that
no
list.
terms, bro. The people who serve them there can
What's that
serve and
list
serve
gonna
and
tell you,
serve.
though? What's that list gonna tell you, though?
All the people that flew to his island.
What does that mean?
They was having sex with children.
Yeah,
That-
they'll be on like a sex trafficking list.
Because he got booked for that.
You have to fly to his island.
And they had that, but they will not tell
They're
us.
not exposing now.
I don't think they're going to tell us at all, though. They're definitely not.
I think it's some very rich
Must be
people.
Too many rich people on that list probably.
Yeah, you got.
They like, look, we got 10 billion apiece. Shut your ass up.
We're not going to know shit about
They
COVID.
said 50 billion. Well, I'll shut my ass up for 50 billion. All y'all would too. I don't want to hear it. And all y'all would too.
That COVID situation, that has to be.
But don't y'all think? I think it's a real problem that if one side speaks their truth and the other side speaks their truth, you damn near dead. Vivek getting threats, Trump getting threats.
This shit's
They took Alex Jones off Twitter.
Honestly,
But
it's
then you
think
got
it's that
you got
serious.
hard leftists. They're like they popping on Twitter.
I don't think it's that serious.
obviously
Is
there's
it?
obviously
It's
like,
that serious.
It is, but I mean, the only answer for that was to be is cruelty. evil.
obviously they have a hard time to bring him on. They try to catch him in something. He always bursts their
They
Some of
don't
these
like
people
it getting
are evil.
exposed.
It's just like,
Vivek
okay,
pulling down everybody's
if I
pants.
get exposed, it's okay though. You know what I'm saying? Like I just take.
It
my
depends on
lick.
what you exposed
Nobody
for.
wants to take.
It depends
the
on what
lick.
you exposed
Yeah,
for.
that's the problem. Nobody
If
likes
you
taking
were
the lick.
Nobody wants
exposed
to
for
take a L.
if you're exposed for harming the American people, that's different than you get exposed. You know,
You can't even live in America no more.
yeah,
dog.
for some different. You a traitor. That's treasonous.
You committed
Yeah,
treason, boy.
Yeah. I guess it's a situation. You definitely don't want to
Your
get
name
exposed
and
for this.
reputation is on the
You
line.
don't want to get exposed for January 6th. You don't want to get exposed for COVID. You don't want to get exposed for Epstein Island.
There's a lot of
Epstein,
things.
Yeah,
I
they need to expose.
wouldn't want to get exposed.
They
for
need to
that.
expose
Yeah,
the
you're
Epstein
right.
Island.
Yeah.
It's
There's
just
I
crazy.
need to see the
It
list.
shows the money
That's
is
never
still like money runs everything, bro. So if you got enough money, I feel like you can actually do whatever the hell you want to do.
To be honest with you, yeah. If you control the whole ecosystem with your little bread, your bread flows through the ecosystem.
Yeah, guys, it's a lot of niches out there, guys. A lot of stuff going on in the world, but this is probably the most corrupt. What is it?
Part of the U.S. government, the
this is the most
corrupt part of the U.S. government is the
part of the
FBI, the
yeah.
CIA, and all them. According to my boy Vivek, and if he said it, I'm stamping it.
I don't know, bro. Them politicians is corrupt.
I don't know who corrupt.
Them
Everybody
two.
corrupt.
That's why we
Just
need
looking
somebody from the outside. Like, hey, they might as well pay me for how I be campaigning for his ass. But I'm saying what I believe, dead ass.
Nah, this is actually insane, guys. Let us
Hey.
know what y'all think about this. And yeah, guys, we need to figure out something. What we gonna do, guys, as the American people. We out here.